In the book of Matthew, during the Olivet Discourse, Jesus described a specific set of conditions that would precede his return. He listed wars, famines, and earthquakes, comparing these escalating global shocks to birth pains, contractions that increase in both frequency and intensity. Modern digital media has largely stripped this concept of its analytical roots, replacing it with a constant stream of sensationalism. Every geopolitical development is now packaged as a subjective end-of-the-world prophecy to drive engagement. This project tests the birth pangs metaphor through a different lens. By using global APIs and data science, we can empirically measure whether these conditions are actually intensifying across time. The Global Convergence Index, or GCI, is an automated engine designed to monitor global instability without human editorializing. Every 24 hours, the system polls a series of scientific and humanitarian databases to track real-world developments in near real time. The GCI functions as a clinical observation instrument, replacing emotional interpretation with a standardized mathematical framework. The system monitors 8 independent data streams, split between natural and man-made forces. On the natural side, it tracks seismic activity via the USGS, weather severity through NOAA alerts, and global disaster and disease data from GDAX and news data. The man-made channels monitor global conflict, food price stress, civil unrest through ACLED, and economic volatility via the VIX index. To maintain a clean baseline, each stream has rigid parameters, such as only counting earthquakes above a 4.5 magnitude, ensuring the data reflects significant global events rather than localized background noise. By sourcing data strictly from reputable international agencies, the GCI creates a measurement of global instability that is resistant to any single regional bias. Analyzing this data requires solving a core problem. You cannot directly compare a raw count of daily earthquakes to the price of wheat or the volatility of the stock market. The engine uses z-score normalization to bridge these gaps. This measures exactly how much a current reading deviates from its 10-year historical mean, expressed in units of standard deviation. These deviations are then mapped to a unified 0 to 100 scale. A score of 50 represents a state of historical equilibrium, where the data is exactly at its long-run average. When a category reaches 72.5, which is 1.5 standard deviations above the norm, it enters a pang state. This represents a statistically significant deviation from historical stability. This mathematical framework allows the system to evaluate diverse global crises using a single, comparable language of systemic stress. To test the sensitivity of l'algorithm, we used a backfill engine to feed it 2 decades of historical records, checking how it reacted to known global shocks. In the first 10 days of September 2001, the data lines remain relatively quiet, hovering near the 50-point baseline of geopolitical calm. On September 11th, the war and economic volatility scores instantly spike to the 100-point hard ceiling. This spike represents the algorithm's automatic reaction to the sudden, massive disruption of the historical status quo. This specific test case shows that the instrument correctly identifies and weights major events as they occur, mirroring the recorded history of global instability without human intervention. In this model, an isolated spike in one category, like a single earthquake or a localized market dip, is considered a standard deviation, not a signal of collapse. The system's ultimate alarm state is active convergence. This only triggers when 3 or more primary categories enter a pang state simultaneously. This state represents a moment where independent vectors of instability align, providing a mathematical proxy for the biblically described birth pangs. The GCI is designed to detect the mathematical convergence of multiple failing systems, identifying when isolated stressors begin to overlap into a broader trend. The project maintains an absolute clinical posture. The engine simply records and displays mathematical deviations from the historical norm, making no theological claims or predictions regarding a specific timeline. To ensure integrity, the data acquisition engine is structurally separated from the display dashboard. The system is built to read the world as it is, not as a human editor expects it to be. In a media environment that often prioritizes panic, standardized clinical data can provide a necessary anchor. Ultimately, the Global Convergence Index acts as a watchman's tool, turning generalized anxiety into measurable observation and offering a clearer view of a chaotic world.